नमस्कार। हामी आज अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय श्रमिक दिवस मनाइरहेका छौं र यसै श्रमिक दिवस मनाउने सन्दर्भमा हाम्रो देशमा अहिले अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय श्रमिक संगठन वर्ल्ड फेडरेसन अफ ट्रेड युनियन्स का अध्यक्ष हाम्रो नेपालमा आउनु भएको छ। नेपालमा नै मे डे सेलिब्रेट गर्ने क्रममा उहाँ नेपाल आइपुग्नु भएको हो। आज हामीले स्टुडियोमा अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय फेडरेसन अफ ट्रेड युनियन्स का अध्यक्ष मिजवान्डिल माइकल मकवाइबालाई निम्त्याएका छौं। आज हामी उहाँसँग अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय श्रमिक आन्दोलन, अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय रूपमा श्रमिकहरूका समस्या, श्रमिकहरूका समस्याका समाधानका उपायहरू लगायतका अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय श्रमिक आन्दोलनका विषयमा कुराकानी गर्नेछौं। उहाँलाई स्वागत गरौं। Welcome, Makwayiba.
Thank you very much.
I pronounce your name correctly?
You have tried very hard.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes. So, welcome to Nepal first.
Thank you very much.
It's your first time in Nepal?
No, it's the second time.
Second time?
Yes.
So, you have been in Nepal in the capacity of president earlier?
On the 2015, I was here as a deputy president of TUI in Africa. We had a congress of TUI, Public Service and Allied. A few months after I left, I had the news of earthquake of people of Nepal.
Oh.
We did send our deepest sympathy to the government and to the people of Nepal and to the working class of Nepal as a whole.
Thank you. How did you feel like coming back to Nepal again? Any changes you have found from your previous visit and now?
Well, I found it different now. When I was here, the infrastructure was a bit of challenge. The road was a lot of work that needed to be done. There's a lot of infrastructure improvement that I discovered when I arrived this time around.
So, you have been over here for several times and you have been in contact with Nepalese trade union organizations,
yes.
being the president of WFTU as well.
Yes.
So, where did you find the Nepalese trade union movement is right now?
I think that is one of the countries that is trying very hard to mobilize. We have a couple of affiliates that becomes with the family of WFTU, and we're quite happy with the progress.
Actually, being Nepal not developed so far, industrially not developed country, there are very few industrial laborers, and most of the Nepalese laborers are going abroad in mostly Gulf countries to earn their bread. So, what do you feel the most challenging situation of Nepalese labor is?
Well, comrades, the members of WFTU have expressed the immigration workers. We are launching office of WFTU on the 1st of tomorrow after the May Day activity, and immediately once that happens, we are going to put people to do coordination. But it appears that the most pressing issue is immigrant workers. It's something that as a federation, as a solidarity organization, we must pay attention, and we hope to do coordination and coordinate and link Nepal with most of countries where each workers go and seek employment to, so that there can be coordination, there can be mobilization of Nepal employees that seeks work in somewhere else. And every country where WFTU exists, this must happen so that we can make sure that there's communication between Nepal home and Nepal immigrant wherever they are being found.
Like in Gulf countries, there were some problems with the Nepalese laborers in Qatar as well. Maybe you are aware of all these things. And in these countries, many Gulf countries, WFTU is and the sister organization are not much active over there. So, any source of being connected with this maybe Nepalese labor or other labor of other countries who have suffered, who have been suffering in those countries? We
are active in many countries that are being mentioned, and if we're not strong in a particular country, but we would have another region or another continent next to. For instance, we are strong in South America continent. Recently, I have visited Los Angeles. We are getting combat much more stronger there, much more eager to work for WFTU. So it shouldn't be a problem. Our responsibility is to pay solidarity with many countries and many workers in many countries. Ironically, WFTU organized most undeveloped countries, such as Nepal. So we already, the Presidential Council in Iran, Tehran, have agreed to a committee of immigrants, and we have advised most of our regional offices that this is a pressing matter and it must receive an attention. And it has been emphasized by our members, by the comrade, by the leadership of Nepal trade unions, that this is a serious issue, and we do pay attention in such.
Okay, and going back to 1989, when the Chicago movement happened, the laborers fight there for the 8 hours work, 8 hours entertainment, and 8 hours of rest. That was the main focus of that time. But the labor situation is changed very much now. We don't work only 8 hours. We don't only work for 6 days or 5 days a week. So to earn the livings, laborers had to work a lot, and the pays are everywhere in the world. The pays of the labor are not supposed to be quite sufficient to earn the livings. So what WFTU is doing in current situation of the labor worldwide?
But it's a significant struggle. It's a significant historical struggle of the working class cannot be lost. Time to time on May Day, we launch different campaigns in different countries in order to address such matters. So the mere fact that we celebrate 1st of May as a historical struggle for workers in Chicago, in America. Ironically, where this day originated to is not being celebrated by workers. Workers in that country are still struggling to celebrate May Day. They are being tear gassed, they have been shamboked, they have been arrested when they celebrate on the May 1st, unfortunately. But it's a very, very important struggle. It's a struggle that must be carried, because in this day, we remember our foreign comrade. In this day, we advance the struggle of the working class. In this day, we remind and conscientize our cadres about the working class struggle. It's not much about time has changed, but the bondage of the working class by capitalists, the bondage of working class by ruling class has not gone, has not changed, still the same. The only difference today is that it is much more advanced. And May Day is one of day that help us to remember this. Remember, we are at work almost every day. We don't have an opportunity where we speak to our members, and May Day provide that opportunity to us.
And we have to struggle for our rights. And
of course, yes. Of course. May Day is there for exactly that.
Okay, talking about the post-Soviet situation, during the Soviets were quite strong. WFTU and even the laborers were supported in the struggles by Soviets and leftist parties worldwide. But in current situation, they said leftist movement is going down gradually, but not actually in Nepal. We have just formed a leftist government with full majority, with almost 2/3 majority. But seeing the worldwide situation, it is said like labor movements are going down as the leftists are not in the government, and mainly communist parties are not so strong worldwide. So what WFTU is doing in such a situation?
WFTU is much more stronger today. We did have the knock effect of a falling of Soviet Union. Any communist country, any Marxist organization that was linked to Soviet did suffer, like us, except those that were linked in China, for instance, did not. But we did suffer. That's not secret. We did suffer. Cuba did suffer. Leave alone that the government of Cuba did not collapse. People nearly write us off because of that. But as the working class, as workers, we reminded ourselves about the May Day, about those workers. We're reminded about many battles that workers have carried. We're reminded as many heroes and revolution. We reminded us about the 17 revolution in Soviet Union. We reminded us about the Marxist army, the army of socialism in Soviet Union when they defeated fascism.
Jar.
Yes, it would not have been happen if it was not a socialist army. So we reminded all of us about that, and we felt that as WFTU we have a role to play in society. Understanding the four features of the society: the ruling class, protecting the interests of capitalists, the vanguard of the working class, protecting the interests of working class. That becomes our role. Of course, everywhere we go, we must rely on a communist organization, because communist organization is the organization that must protect the working class. Our mere responsibility is to conscientize workers about the immediate issues, but at the end, the communist organization must run countries, must rule countries on our behalf, on behalf of the working class, because communists are leaders, are leadership of the working class that must take the government and respond to the pride of the working class.
So do you think that a leadership, like you said, the communist parties who are ruling the states are enough working for the labor class movement, development of labor class movement?
Yes, why not? Yes, organization of Marxist communist ought to do that. It becomes the primary responsibility. The revolution of communists, the revolution of communist organization is primarily benefit. It does that on behalf of the working class.
Okay, and you have in the international scenario also, like WFTU, we have another organization called ITUC. Lots of communist parties, trade unions are affiliated to ITUC. So what is the difference between you and
There's something I call water and oil that I'm saying is impossible.
Yes.
You can't mix the two. Okay? We are not corroborators of capitalist class. We believe there's another word that is possible. We believe that we can end the barbaric war of capitalist class. Therefore, if WFTU and TUC ought to be united, the principle of unity must be not ambiguous, must be openly clear. We believe in condemning and destroying capitalist system because we don't think that is good for working class. And we don't believe that in the face of globalization, in the face of capitalism, there can be human face. If this is a case, why must people of Syria die every day? Why must be unarmed women of Palestine and young children die every day, killed by a powerful weapon of the United States? Why? Now, if ITUC is not prepared to speak on these issues, I'm sorry, we can't be friends. If ITUC affiliate Federation in America cannot speak on the fact that workers in the United States of America do not celebrate May Day on the 1st of May, I'm sorry, there's nothing to talk. Because those, to us, are principal issues.
But about the few communist countries, even communist parties, the worker unions are communist parties, are members of ITUC. What did you say about that?
I don't want to judge people, but I believe you can't mix water and oil. And there must be something not right there. I don't understand why. Communist, if you're calling yourself communist, it means that you subscribe to the interest of the working class. Your constituency becomes a working class.
Yes.
So what is the constituency of the United States of America? What is the constituency of Obama? What is the consequence of
Donald Trump?
Donald Trump? Do you know that the person who's going to trigger a third world war in this world is Donald Trump?
Yes.
Racism that is supported by Donald Trump is the key beneficiary of exploitation of workers. Racism is not a mere racism, it's a class matter. The mere fact that people would have gone to Africa and buy slaves was to make sure that they do their farms, they benefit out of that on the basis of being slave. Leave alone that they're being raped, women were being raped. In the policy of Donald Trump, in the policy of capitalism, you don't see the rights of women. In the real communist manifesto, in communist organization, you will see women's rights as a priority, because Marxists and communists believe that if you want to liberate a nation and you want a nation that is classless, the first people to be given right are women, because those are people that produce the world. Men and women comes from women. So I wouldn't understand communists that are in TUC, I wouldn't understand what is it, why are they there and what are the reasons. I wouldn't understand. But I can't see myself. I can't be in an organization that I cannot talk about socialism. I can't be in an organization that I cannot talk about Marxist. I can't be in an organization that I don't appreciate the sovereignty of people of Cuba.
Some of them are talking about the socialism, everything, and they are again affiliated to capitalist things.
Capitalist. So that I don't understand that. And that I can't be part of it.
Yes, okay.
I'm consciously clear.
But you have been, you are in the government, and you are in Nepal, and you have been to Nepal before as well. Maybe you have been tracking the situation in Nepal as well. Like this time, for the first time in the Nepalese history, the leftist government with almost 2/3 majority and support of 3/4 of the parliament is in the power. So what you have the suggestions to the government for the working class movement?
What is my expectation?
Expectation.
What is my expectation? I expect that the agenda of the working class must be priority in the leftist party. That's my expectation.
So do you feel that the Nepalese government, you have been talking to the different trade union organizations over here?
Yes, I've been talking to trade union, their concerns. We have made proposal of how we think that people must go. For instance, I'm suggesting that we should consider a political school, perhaps invite one of the communist leaders in Russia, because we still have a communist, so that they can explain to us how did the communist in Soviet Union fall. They can explain to us how did Czechoslovakia becomes another country. Invite the leadership of the government of Cuba, explain to us how are they succeeding to maintain socialism in their country, how are they succeeding. Perhaps invite a Communist Party in South Africa, come and tell the workers here how to be a Communist Party and being in a bourgeois government, and at the same time exercise Marxist ideas within that environment.
Okay, now we'll talk about your country, South Africa.
Yes.
Yes, South Africa. Even there, you have been fighting with the racism, with the British government over there, British supported government over the colonial government.
Yes, yes.
After you fought to the African National Congress, and even now in the African National Congress, there is a rift over there. They are like always seems like anytime they can break away, like the things. What is the about the talking about labor situation? Maybe laborers that time when ANC was in the power, they have felt like they gained the power, they are coming to the power. And what is the current situation right now there?
ANC is still in power, and yes, many prophet of dooms feel that ANC one day is going to lose power. Well, that is possible, and ANC must apply its mind into this view. In the ANC government, we have a comrade from communists who run certain department. We have an influence step by step. Before former President Zuma,
Jacob Zuma,
get off the office, he announced that the household that earns up to 300,000 and above, education from grade R to up to level of graduation to university will be free. Health is free in South Africa. We have progress, surely. And on one hand, you have working class who are up its toes in protecting its interests, that they have certain rights. Not enough, but we do think that there has been a progress, but not a Marxist progress,
yes.
not a communist progress, but there has been a progress.
Social reforms there.
Yes, that has been appreciated by the working class,
okay.
but we want more.
Yes, some kind of social reforms you have, but you want more, like the communist reforms you want.
Yes, yes.
So, from the African, your country's experience about getting some social reforms for the laborers, so do you have any suggestions to Nepal from your struggle to get these reforms over here, like health, and you said health is free over there?
Each and every country must treat it for each case and look to the uniqueness of that country, like Nepal. Remember, in South Africa, it is ANC, a bourgeois party that is in government, not communist.
Yes.
The difference is that, and even that bourgeois party is not 2/3 majority. The difference with Nepal is a communist organization in power and 2/3.
Yes.
Now, my great expectation, it has risen.
Not only the social reforms, we're going to have the communist reforms over here.
Yes. I am not saying the government or the Communist Party of Nepal must go straight to socialism, but I'm saying there must be a roadmap to socialism.
Yes.
There must be a direct road that workers must be able to see that we are going to this direction. And the Communist Party, being a working class leadership, must make sure that it goes along with an organized and advanced working class section. But community and all different sectors of the society, in this case being women, being youth, and so on, pensioners, and so on. And
you mean to say they should show at least a symptom of, like,
yes,
they are going to the socialist reform.
Yes. And there must be concrete programs. If I was a Nepal Communist Party, I was going to focus into youth and focus into IT sector. An IT sector that is not intending to take jobs away, but that must enhance a human in order to make sure that we improve the economics of Nepal.
Okay, Makwayiba, thank you for your time, thank you for your precious time, and thank you to coming to Janata television during your visit over here.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
आज हामी थियौं अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय ट्रेड युनियन फेडरेसनका अध्यक्ष म्याडविन्डेल माइकल मकाविबासँग। आजको यो कार्यक्रम यति नै। तपाईं जनताद्वारा जनताका लागि प्रसारित जनता टेलिभिजन हेरिरहनुहोस्। नमस्कार।